world's most iconic buildings. You know, it's really up there with the White House, 10 Downing Street, Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament, and many other famous buildings, particularly in your part of the world, that you all know instantly. You know, if you're a tourist, you think, ah, yes. And if you say these words, I'm lucky enough to stay at the Waldorf Astoria, and you know what I'm talking about, of course, the world famous Waldorf Astoria Hotel, opened in the 30s, 53 floors of excellence, luxury, and deluxedom. I mean, really. And every single major president that you can imagine has been through those doors. It's got lots of secrets, and as you can imagine, underground train service, all sorts of side doors, and you know, if only walls could talk, as they say. Everybody from anybody has been there, including good friends of mine, like the brilliant Tony Bennett, who was in concert there doing the cabaret for many years, in fact, in the Wedgwood Room. Marilyn Monroe lived at the Waldorf Astoria for a full year. That's where she must have earned some brass, don't you think? Well, she was married to Arthur Miller, or at the start of their romance. Now, the Waldorf Astoria next year is reopening its doors after having billions of pounds spent on it, not just in refurbishing the hotel, but additional condos too. So I thought I'd take you through a bit of a trot about the history of it. And more importantly, could you and I really afford to live there? I think we know the answer to that one, don't you? But do let me know in the comments below if you could live in a hotel where you could just pick up the phone, you know what it's like, order the things you want, you know, poached eggs on toast, a pot of tea with your feet up in the lounge, that sort of thing. Would you? Or would you miss living in a house? Seemingly, if you're a celebrity, superstar people, then you do like the luxury of staying in these places. But in this modern 21st century world, the eye-watering amounts that they now require for you to be able to buy a place in somewhere like the Waldorf Astoria truly will leave you breathless. As ever, let me explain. 90 years since the Waldorf Astoria Hotel first opened its doors on New York's Park Avenue in 1931, becoming the tallest and largest luxury hotel in the world during a very difficult time as the Great Depression cast its long shadow. The hotel's famed Art Deco interiors have been given the backdrop of countless galas, benefits for the upper crust, the elite, as well as, of course, as the site of history-making conferences from international politicians, celebrities that include the world-famous sex symbol Marilyn Monroe, alongside her husband Arthur Miller. Frank Sinatra have also called it home, while every US president from Herbert Hoover to Barack Obama have laid their head to rest in the presidential suite. But the Waldorf Astoria has been closed for the past 4.5 years, undergoing a more than $1 billion renovation after it was purchased for $1.9 billion in 2014 by a Chinese backing bank and insurance group. While parts of the hotel are being restored to its original state, rooms including the Grand Ballroom are protected by New York City's Landmarks Preservation Commission. Good idea. Much of the building is being entirely reimagined for the future. And for the first time, the Waldorf Astoria will offer residential apartments to own rather than to lease within the twin Waldorf Towers. Incredibly exciting. In the section that I worked on, there was nothing, which of course was landmarks, so there was no starting point. There was nothing to preserve, says Jean-Louis Deneau, the French designer tasked with transforming the new apartments and amenities. The hotel rooms, meanwhile, are being overhauled by Pierre Rochon. I wanted to go for a more modernistic, fresher, but still grounded feel. I hope you understood that. When the Waldorf Astoria opens in 2023, in just a couple of weeks now, it will have 375 hotel rooms, down from 1,400, and 375 condominium units. The for sale apartments will range from studios starting at 1.8 million to 4 bedrooms starting from 18.5 million. Plus, get this, 2 penthouses which have yet to be openly priced. I can see you snapping your purse open now. The amenities accessible only to the residents will include the skylit 82-foot-long Starlight Pool, formerly the Starlight Roof, the place where the brilliant Ella Fitzgerald regularly performed, as well as the Winter Garden, a bar and a lounge, all turned into a beautiful and of course very climate-friendly green oasis. Apparently there's something very peaceful and appealing about the sense of serenity of being connected with nature, the hotel claims. Extensive renovations are the biggest makeover the Waldorf Astoria has received since it opened. But it's the second reiteration of the hotel, which was first established there in 1893 but was demolished to make way for the Empire State Building. The first hotel, though, wasn't immediately beloved. Apparently, people all over the country laughed at the idea that people would want, get this, 350 private bathrooms, calling the project Astor's Folly. Yes, not everybody loves progress, you see. The hotel was actually in two buildings, the results of the proverbial measuring contest between the two moneyed cousins of the Astor family. William Waldorf Astor, who became the richest man in America thanks to his father's inheritance. He built the Waldorf. 4 years later, his cousin, John Jacob Astor, doomed to become the wealthiest man to die aboard, of course, the infamous Titanic in 1912, built a taller hotel right next door. They eventually dropped the animosity and hyphenated the hotel's name as well as the building, connecting the two through a 300-foot marble corridor dubbed Peacock Alley because people would peacock up and down to be seen, a little bit like influencers today on Instagram. But when the Waldorf Astoria started anew on Park Avenue between 49th and 50th, it was no longer in the Astor family hands. William Waldorf Astor died in 1919, but those of the hotelier Lucius M. Boomer, who managed the hotel after it was acquired by T. Coleman in 1918. The following sale of the site, where the board of directors sold the rights to the Waldorf Astoria name for $1 as a gesture of goodwill, and he used the bargain to very much his advantage. Waldorf has retained some of its most famous objects over the years, including the Porter's 1907 Steinway piano, along with the hotel's murals, mosaics, and 9-foot lobby clock, an intricate 19th century timepiece commissioned by our very own Queen Victoria for the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, which will also get a refresh. So for those of you looking to spend some money in 2023, and you do have a few billion put aside, this could be the place to rest your head. Thank you so much for watching that short film all about the brilliant Waldorf Astoria. Given the bad weather over there at the moment, perhaps it's one of the only places that is still keeping warm. I don't mean that lightly, but terrible, terrible situation. Thoughts and prayers out to everybody with bad weather around the world if you're trapped inside. Let's hope it all rectifies soon. And as ever, thank you so much for watching, as I say, the film about one of the world's most famous hotels. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.